Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First off, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimal listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. I absolutely love it. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor, ANCHOR.FM to get started. Hey guys, welcome back to Baby Bump Life's podcast. This is Nurse Wit here, and we are on episode 4. And what I want to talk to you guys about in this episode is what you can expect from a cervical exam, because I think too often moms are a little bit confused about the cervical exams, and I'm going to explain just a little bit about that. So the very first thing, if you listen to my last episode, I talked about the things that they'll do when you first arrive to the hospital. And one of the first things they will do is check your cervix to determine how far dilated you are and if you're in early labor or active labor. And if you are in early labor, if you're still closed, 0 centimeters or maybe 1 centimeter dilated, they may send you home and have you come back later when you're in more active labor. That's totally okay. You have no way of knowing what your cervix is dilated to unless we check it. And unfortunately, we haven't figured out a way yet to check mom's cervix without checking with our hands or fingers. I tell moms all the time, I wish there was a way we could do that, but we haven't gotten there yet with science. So unfortunately, it can be uncomfortable. Something to keep in mind though is if you can try and breathe and relax, and I know that's easier said than done, especially if you are in labor. Your cervix is very tender, and so I know it's hard to say to do that, but if you can, it's easier for us to get to your cervix, and it can make the exam much quicker. We can finish and be done. But if you tighten up everything, it pulls the cervix back and it makes it harder for us to get our hands where we need to, which can make you be in more pain because it can lengthen the process. So just keep in mind, if they're telling you you have to have a cervical exam when you get to the hospital, try and relax, try and breathe. Another tip that you can do is you can put your hand in a fist and put that at the small of your back, right behind your lower back there. That helps to tilt your cervix forward, and it makes it easier for us to get to it as well. So just a few tips on how you can make the process a little bit easier for yourself as well. But what I want you to do for the next couple things that I'm going to talk about for your cervix and how we're measuring it, I want you to kind of think of a balloon and think of the part of the balloon that's filled with air as the uterus, where the baby would be, and think of the part of the balloon where you tie the knot as the cervix. Okay, that is the part that has to open up to 10 centimeters dilated. That is the part that has to thin out all the way to 100% effacement. And then that is the part where the baby comes down and how the baby is coming out. So I'm going to talk about dilation, effacement, and pelvic station. So the first thing that we're looking at with the dilation is how far open that cervix is. It can be 0 centimeters, which is closed, and it goes all the way to 10 centimeters, and that is what you have to be to have the baby. You have to be 10 centimeters dilated. I actually found something that I thought was pretty cool that kind of talks about centimeters and uses fruit as an example. So I thought that might be good just to kind of share with you guys really quick so that you have an idea of how far dilated it is. And I know all of these fruits can be a little bit different and vary in sizes. So, but here we go. Here's the little list. So it says for 1 centimeter dilated, that's like a blueberry. For 2, a cherry. 3, a strawberry. 4, a lime. 5, a kiwi. 6, a lemon. 7, an apple. 8, an orange. 9, a grapefruit. And 10, a melon. So that just kind of gives you a rough idea. Again, all of these fruits can vary in size, but just so you have a rough idea, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about dilation and how far open the cervix has to be to have the baby. Okay, so then the next thing we're looking at is effacement, how thick or how thin the cervix actually is. So it starts out really, really thick and long, and that's at, like 20%. So we measure this in a percentage, and it goes all the way to 100%. So you have to be 100% effaced, so that's all the way thinned out, and the 10 centimeters dilated to have the baby. Okay, so that's the second thing. The next thing is the station, the pelvic station. Where is the baby's head at? How high or how low is the baby's head in the pelvis? So it starts out at like -4, -3, really high up there, and it comes down to 0 station, and then it goes into the pluses. So +1, +2, +3 is like seeing the baby's head, +4 is coming out. So usually at +2 is when we have moms start pushing. So just to give you kind of a rough idea, you could be 10 centimeters dilated, 100% effaced, but baby's head could still be at like a -1 or a 0 station, and your nurse will tell you, we're not going to push quite yet. Let's just let baby's head come down a little bit more. Otherwise, you could be pushing for a couple hours, and to save yourself and conserve some energy, you can just let that baby's head labor down. So we're looking at those 3 things: dilation, effacement, pelvic station. We're also looking at the presenting part, which should always be the head. We always want that to be the baby's head. That's how they come out first. We want to make sure that we're feeling the head and the suture. We can feel sometimes, depending on how high up the baby is, but we can feel the sutures in their little tiny skulls there, and we want to make sure that is what we're feeling as a head and not a sweet little baby bum, and making sure that it's okay for you to continue in labor, and just to make sure that we wouldn't have to change our plans with a C-section. So those are some things to just kind of consider when we are checking your cervix. There's many different things that we're looking at. So if the exam is taking a little bit longer, just understand why. There's several different things that we're looking at. And I know me personally, I've been doing this a while, but sometimes I'll just get someone, one of the other nurses or maybe one of the doctors, I'm like, hey, I think this is what I'm feeling, but can you just double check? And we do that sometimes just to make sure, because we can't see anything. We're solely going off what we feel, and we want to make sure that that is accurate. So just know that if it is taking a while or they ask to do a second exam, it's just because we want to make sure that we have the exact right information for you. So I hope that helps you guys with what to expect for a cervical exam. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, babybumplife@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and check out my YouTube videos. I have some videos on cervical exams and dilation as well. So thank you so much all for listening, and I hope you all have a great day. Until next time, I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.